We missed the first half.
Okay, well, this will be a second half. What were we saying? So I had a long time where I just was very lost. And I was probably very negative, and I talked to I would talk to my friends, and I don't know, it was probably hard for them to listen to me again and again, be so like sad and lost and not know what to do with myself, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? You have all your experience, that you're not done, you're not nothing, you look at all these things, but to me, I was just like, but what am I now? And what am I then? You look back at like, you tend to look back and,
of course,
go, oh my gosh, is all the best behind me? Did I not realize that was the best that it was going to be? Like, I peaked. Like, I wish I would have realized I was peaking when I peaked.
Yeah, I get that.
It's a lesson, though, to still really look at our micro wins. Because I think I spent so much time looking ahead to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing that I wasn't sitting in the things that would happen and going, wow, this is awesome, because we're always not thinking we're there yet, and I guess there's no there. There is no there, and once you can go, okay, there's no there. There's just things that happen along your path, your journey. So, I was just really, I didn't really have any answers. I think I probably depressed most people for a while with how I was. It was a couple years that I was very lost. But I started getting involved in community. It was like the first thing I did because I just didn't know what to do with myself. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not a rock star. What am I? What am I going to do with myself? And I wanted to do positive things, so I jumped into the whole bunch of community things. Like,
I love that.
In my locally I live in Sunland, I got involved in the local arts and recreation committee that's part of the city council. I then, with my husband's carpenters union, I got involved in their women's thing to help, whatever. At my temple, I joined the sisterhood. Like, I just did anything I could so I could help other people because I was feeling really helpless.
That is so smart because they say when you can't help yourself, go help others.
And that's what I was remembering. Yeah. I was feeling so horrible. And I remembered that one like, wait, I know this. I know the answer to this.
Yes.
I feel terrible. Okay, I can't do anything for myself right now, but I can help other people. And that's what I started doing for like a couple years. I also chased trying to write for other artists for a while, but that kind of put me in circles, although I did a lot of writing, which is good.
That's good, yeah.
So it was good. It got me out of my head, and I was trying all these things, but ultimately that didn't really work because for whatever reason that wasn't working out either. But I was just trying everything because I just didn't know what to do, and I was like totally scattered. And the internet is not so helpful all the time, especially when you are depressed, especially when you are lost.
Yes.
And you feel like you don't have your shit together and everyone's busy putting their highlight reel and you're like, oh my God, how does everyone know what to do in life? How the hell got it worked out? How do they, and you're just like, why am I so lost? I thought I was a smart person. Why can't I figure this out for myself? And I know I'm very good at helping others. Why can't I help me? And
I think we all suffer from that a little bit, where we just, I have the answer to all my students. They ask me, and I'm like, here you go. This is what you got to do. And I'm like, I should probably take my own advice, because I know the answer. But I think it's because maybe we're not confident in ourselves and our abilities,
It's the negative self-talk.
It's the negative self-talk all the time. And like you said, when you see other people on social media, and that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because I want some real shit out there, like everybody struggles with one thing or another, and it's not always just all great. Of course, we want to share good stuff, right? We don't want to like bring people down by always being a downer, but the reality is sometimes you just feel like crap. Sometimes you go through dark times, and that's okay because that's growth.
And sometimes dark times last a long time.
They do,
not just a month. Sometimes it's years.
Yeah.
I went through it for years. And God bless my poor husband who's had to deal with my being so lost because, at first I was like relying on him to get back into music thinking that was going to be the answer. But the answer was I had to like figure it out for myself and figure out what else I can do and not rely on someone else. A, for my career, B, for my happiness.
So easy to do.
Yeah, I've been in bands that were very codependent for so long. I was only the writer in like the top line, which is just the lyrics and whatever. I never thought about music. I just let them write, and I'm like, all right, this is what has to happen here. You know, and that's what I did. So I've had to change everything about how I write. But it was good. It did lead to a lot of growth. I got my placement for Mother's Day during this period because I was experimenting and writing with different people. And a friend of mine was the editor on that film. Like, that's how I got it. It wasn't like I submitted the best song in the world and it got picked. A friend of mine said, this is what I'm doing. And I said, I'm going to write a song for you.
Awesome.
And then I went to a friend of mine that this is what he does for a living. Like, he just places songs on TV. That's all he does. So I got, this is the guy. I got to go to him. We wrote this song. He gave me this track, and maybe I'll have to send it to you so you can play it for people and they can see how ridiculous. So you can't ever know what people like or what's going to get you your first opportunity, and what you think is so dumb. Someone might go, oh my God, that's so funny or quirky or awesome. Okay, so I wrote this song called Mama Knows Best. It's like the most whack, weirdest. There's horns. There's some sort of whack electronics going on. My friend played me this track, and I'm thinking, what the fuck am I going to do with this song? You know, and this is what he gives me. I tell him I need to get a song on a film, and I get this. Fine. Okay, I'm a professional. I can work with this. So I was like, I'm just going to give it the best I can. And I was like, okay, so just kind of be fun. And I came up with, like, you know, something silly. You know your mama knows best. And it was just like, went with these silly horns.
I like that already.
It was really silly and funny, and I'll send it to you. And, like, we did it, and it was really quirky. It's kind of like a nursery rhyme, a little bit of a rap. And I sent it to my friend who's working on the film, and she thought exactly like me. She gets this song. She's like, what am I going to do with this song? This is so dumb, you know? And I'm just like, they could be walking down the street. Like, I'm trying to give her ideas of where she could put my song. You know, a transition. I just, whatever. So it goes and sits in her thing. She never thinks about it again. I never really think about it again. It's the dumbest song I've ever written, you know, as far as I'm concerned. And then this is for a Gary Marshall film. And, like, so then they're at the end, and they need another song. They need more songs for the ends of the credits. Like, it was in the credits. Oh, well, it's a start, right?
Who cares?
They're like, they come to her, like, your friend, she sent you something. I know she did. Something upbeat. And she was probably, like, hiding it, like, no, she didn't. And then she's like, oh, my gosh.
That's awesome.
So she plays it. And they love it. She then plays it for Gary Marshall. He loves it. And it gets in the film, right? And we're like, no way in hell. And she's like, you're not going to believe this. I totally forgot about this song. He came in, they needed one. He forced me to play it for him. I was like, didn't think anything of it, and they loved it. So that was like a big story.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I thought it was so dumb. Oh my God, no one's going to like this. Even when I gave it to her, I was kind of like, oh my God, here's my song. Right. Oh my God, I don't know, embarrassing. Turns out you don't know what other people are, everyone else thought it was fun. And I was just because I was relating it to me and my artist and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, we gotta let go of that.
You have to let go of it, because if I have the ability to create something that helped that film and they thought it was fun, then who cares about the artist? Because the artist couldn't pay her bills.
Exactly. I think there's a huge difference between us being artists and then also writing for Sync. Mm-hmm. I feel when I write for Sync, it's not, I'm detached to it, I don't care about, this is like...
There's less pressure. And maybe to explain
people... me, it's...
To explain people, Sync is when you place your music in film and TV.
Yeah, exactly. So you're writing for something specific, or, you have a concept that could work for a show that you like. And then sometimes your artist stuff. I had something from Otto's Daughter that was like a German song. It was so underground. So, I mean, I never thought that song would ever get a placement. Uh-huh. And it got a placement on Hemlock Grove at the end credits also. And I was like, Togestanz? What?
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, and it's not even...
never know.
Didn't even sound that good, but it sounded gritty and like, lo-fi, what they needed. We were laughing. That was really funny too. Yeah, that was...
You just never know. You never know.
That's why it's so important to like put your music out there or put your work out there, because... You just never know who's looking for that weird, crazy, out-of-the-box thing. Because I think when you always write in the box, there's so much of it. Mm-hmm. There's so many rap songs already. There's so many pop. Pop is like,
yeah.
There's so many love songs. We all love to write love songs because, everybody can relate to that. But I think that when you're writing something that's just weird and crazy... when that time comes, it has a good chance. There's not so much
different.
of it. Yeah,
it's different.
Different is good.
It's different.
Different is good.
So, got a little off topic, but when I got that placement, I mean, this was all in the depths of me not knowing who I am, what I am, where I am, and all these things. I got that placement. I was like, okay, all right, there's something else here. Like, don't give up hope yet. You do music. This is what you do. You're gonna make it work. You know, so I mean, fast forward quite a bit. I had a month, and I recommend this to everyone. I had a month where I completely shut down my social media. This was last year. I was realizing that seeing what everyone did every day was so... I got sucked into it. It also made me feel like I wasn't doing enough. I just was getting it wasn't helping me. And I thought, I just need to not know what anyone's doing for a month. I need to not care. I need to not know. I need to not invest in it. I need to, I needed to disengage and elevate.
Yes, I love that.
So I recommend it to any person to just disengage from all of it. I was allowed to Google things, and I was allowed to check my emails. Mm-hmm. That was it. So if anyone wanted to call, they could call me on the phone, they can email me, or if I needed to know something, I could Google it. You
did no Facebook, no Instagram?
No Twitter. Nothing where I could engage, read stories, know what was happening, get emotionally involved, hear bad news, nothing.
How did it help you as far as, like, mentally? Because I feel sometimes... To be honest, sometimes I just feel so overwhelmed and anxious.
Yes.
It makes me anxious.
It got rid of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Took down my anxiety. It took down my negative feelings of not doing enough. Mm-hmm. It gave me space to have my own thought. And it was during that 1 month off that I came up with the concept for my album that I called The Royalty.
Oh, I love
and
that.
It was a mixture of I was in this most horrible down part, and I was like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what the hell. I know nothing about myself. And I was like, I like tea. Like, that was what I said to myself. I like tea. Like, that's all I knew about me. And then I was like, huh. And it then got me on this thing, and then spilling the tea is like telling all. Yeah. And so I kind of got down all of a sudden I got this whole wave of ideas of my album concept, The Royalty. And it's a mixture of the songs I've been recording for the last 2 years. And every song that's written was generally written with me having to get past something. I was struggling from something, and I had to get past it. And it did. When I wrote that song, it helped me get past it. So it helped me tremendously. Like I said, it gave me a moment to not worry about anyone else. Right. And just be okay with that. And if I'm not creating as much as other people are doing this or doing that, it was fine. Yeah. And like I said, and I came up with that idea. It gave my brain space to think. Yeah. So I'm trying to run my pages and be consistent, so it's hard to do that, but I have again considered shutting down my regular Facebook, only doing my pages and my groups that I have to do my work in. Yeah. And completely disengaging from the other timeline stuff, because I love being connected with people, but it gets too much.
It's overwhelming because it's a time suck for me. Like, I like to be, same thing, I like to engage with them and see what everybody's up to.
Give advice or...
And just be in touch with people, but at the same time, it's like 2 hours later, you and sometimes, you get into a conversation, you start replying, and then you realize... I don't want to argue, especially with something that's like controversial or something, so then I'm like, I just wasted 15 minutes replying to something that I'm not even replying to, and it becomes just a little bit too much where I feel like, wow, my day is gone, and what have I accomplished?
You waste a lot of time. And that's not reality.
It's not reality.
It's not reality, and I think we all have gotten too used to being in too many places. Like, you and I are sitting here, and then maybe I'll be like, oh, hold on, let me get on my phone.
All the time.
And we all do that, and it's we're here together. Like I challenge everyone, when you're out together with your people, and I'm talking to myself too. Put your phone in, put it down, put it in your purse, put it on mute, and just be with the people you're with. Yes. Because you'll just have a better time. I mean, that's reality there. Whatever's happening on the internet's not real.
Yeah. And I think that, and I'm guilty of that too. Like I like texting,
too.
right? I like texting.
Me too.
I hate talking to people on the phone. But I have a few friends who recently, like, if I text them, they don't even get back to me. I have to call them, or they call me. And I'm realizing, I'm like, you know what? It's actually kind of nice because us right now sitting here, right? Because a lot of people struggle with things, and that's why we're doing this whole thing to just like, you're not alone. There's a lot of people who have issues and problems, and by starting a conversation to just connecting with people, that's the first step to just like realize I'm not alone in this. I don't have to struggle so hard and do everything on my own. There's other people who can totally relate and probably help me, and I can help them. And social media doesn't really do that as much as I love it. Obviously, it's great. I get inspired a lot of times, but I also get too overwhelmed and freaked out by it.
I think the best thing that has come from lately from my Facebook and my social media is discovering these different groups. Like we're both in different songwriters groups, and that's something I needed. I needed to connect with other like-minded people. So I would say that's a great way to use.
It's a focus.
That's a great way to use your social media to find people who are going to help you some way positively. And another group that I joined is for digital marketing for musicians. So it's another thing I did for positive education or something I was going to gain from it. And everyone in the group is so positive and we all help each other. So those are two really good things. But I want to just tell the final element, because I'm not going to like pretend that I worked it all out myself.
Yes.
I now had a concept for my album. I have all the songs finished. They're getting mastered this coming week.
Congratulations.
That's great. Thank you.
How many songs?
7 songs. So I had all the songs done, and I wasn't moving forward. This has been done. It's been done a very long time, and I was like, okay, well, I haven't moved forward. Well, what happened? Why wasn't I moving forward? 1, I didn't want to take photos. Why? 1, well, since I've had kids, honesty, I'm 30 pounds heavier than I was before I had kids. So, and I had body issues before. When I look back, when I'm like, oh my God, I was so thin when I was fat, going back, who hasn't said that before? So I had a major self-worth problem going on that I thought if I don't look how I looked, no one will accept me because I don't accept me.
Right. Oh my God. Thank you for saying that.
So I couldn't do the photos. Like, if I had my photographer, she's one of my really good friends here right now, make my first photo, it's like, okay, only this much of myself can you photograph from that angle, and then just make sure I look the skinniest my face could look. Like, I was just being stupid. I was being overcritical, because, at the end of the day, I'm normal. Maybe I'm not, thin or whatever, but I'm perfectly within the range of normalcy, and I have to, be okay that my body type is different. And and if I worked harder, I could. It takes a lot of effort. And you are a very fit person, and tell the truth, you work hard at your body.
I do, and you know what? I always beat myself up, and I'm always unhappy. Always.
Well, don't be, because you're hot, girl.
Thank you.
But
you know what I mean?
You put the work in.
Yeah.
It takes the work.
But still, I think we all struggle. I was telling Luci earlier that I did a video, and I didn't like myself, so I never released it because I was like, I have this wrinkle on my head, and the light wasn't right. And but again, it comes down to because we are so used to seeing everybody being so perfect, right? And also that whole youth obsession. Like, we all want to be forever young and forever, the perfect... What does it even mean, the perfect size, right? What is the perfect size? Because you look beautiful.
Whatever size you are.
Exactly.
That's the answer.
And being comfortable with yourself. And it's not always easy. And we all struggle with that. If you're a little bit bigger, if you're, really skinny,
whatever your thing is, we might have a thing about it, Yeah. So I didn't do my photos. Well, you can't put out a record without having photos or without doing videos, and I wasn't doing any of that because I didn't want to be on the internet. I didn't want people to see me.
Right.
So that was holding me back. And I was just like, oh my God, I have all these things, and I was looking everywhere. Well, what's holding me back? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? And then the answer was, it was me.
Yeah.
And I actually had something really traumatic happen last year. My best friend got into a car accident. I was right there with her. She got hit by a vehicle crossing a road. She was in the right. It was a drag racer. She's alive. It was right outside the Whiskey Go-Go at 2 a.m.
Oh my God.
And I watched my best friend get hit by a car, fly through the air, roll around.
Jesus
I thought she was dead. And I just, from that, I got PTSD. I couldn't, and I, like, okay, and everyone froze, and, like, she'll tell you, okay, I saved her life. Everyone froze in the moment, and I was the only person. I saw it happening from the corner of my eye, and I screamed. And I called her Bean, and I just said, no, Bean! It's the only thing I could say, but she's like, she said, I heard your voice, and I knew what it meant. And she turned around with just enough time. Her hands went like this on the car, and she flipped like cartwheels in the air, went over the vehicle. So she never got, if she hadn't seen it, it would have hit her from the back, and she would have gone under the vehicle. But she turned, and like somehow her body strength, she cartwheeled in the air, like you wouldn't believe it. And like she like fell on the ground. So it was mostly her rolling and tumbling, right? So she lived.
Oh my God.
But I got such PTSD from that moment that I was like, okay, I'm ready for therapy now. You know, like, and it's not because that's why I needed therapy. I needed therapy for a bunch of other reasons. But that was the moment, the aha moment that I was like, okay, you need help. You need help. So thank God that happened because it's only been a few months, but I put myself into therapy. And since doing that, I'm slowly moving forward on my music and realizing, you know, why am I depressed? What's going on, you know? And I don't even know if I thought of it as depression, but it obviously was because when you can't move ahead and you can't get past yourself, I mean, it's kind of depression.
It is. And wouldn't you agree that... Baldy, what's the matter? He wants to say something too. And wouldn't you agree, is that still going, yeah, right?
Are we still recording?
Let me see. Oh, yeah, it's still going.
Okay.
And wouldn't you agree that I think a lot of people are... For me, it took a lot to admit that I am sometimes depressed. That I am, you know... I mean, I'm not denying being anxious, but like I never really wanted to share that I have depression because I felt like, oh, you know, people think of me as this person that's all together, and I'm like a coach, and I need to be always the one who's high vibe, and you know, just being the positive person and being the cheerleader. But wouldn't you agree that it's like it's normal? Depression is very normal because most of us go through that. I think especially as we grow a little bit older, because sometimes life doesn't go the way you had planned it or you thought, right? If I look back, me, my 12-year-old self, thinking where I would be right here at this moment, this time in my life, that's not where I saw myself.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's, how do you deal with that when you have that depression? How do you deal with it? Because I have certain things that I do, but I'm curious, like, what did you do to get back out? Besides, did the therapy really do that? Like,
I mean, it's. I'm still in it. We're doing it. We're doing it.
That's
you know?
great, though.
So yeah, anyone out there, if you've ever thought, man, maybe I should get some therapy, just stop thinking about it because it's really just a soundboard.
Yeah.
It's you go and you can talk to someone who has no opinion about anything. They don't know any of your dynamics in your family or this and that. They can just deal with you and what you want to talk about and help you really analyze where things are coming from and like, you know. So for me, what I'm learning, I have to be more forgiving to myself. I'm very hard on myself. I'm so forgiving to everyone else, but to me, I'm not forgiving, and I am always serving others. I give way too much of to other people, and then I leave nothing left for me. So this is no one to blame. You can not even want to blame myself, but only I can make space for me.
Self-love, self-care.
So it's been doing that, making more time for myself, you know, just doing more of what I love, and it just, you know, like, okay, well, why have I don't have the energy, like I find myself not having the energy to do the things, but when I just muster it up a little bit, you know, it's amazing how the energy can come when you just get into the flow, you know, so...
building that momentum.
It's you know. I think for me the biggest thing is, and it's still a struggle, is letting go of what was, because that's not reality either, and I can't recreate that.
Yeah,
I can only move forward and grow something from it. So it's like that was the hardest thing to deal with, of going like, well, then who am I?
Yeah.
If I'm not that person who I was for a decade, well, then who am I now? And I don't think you have to have the answer right away. And I think some of us, like, part of the depression is when you're in those weird middle reinventing places.
Right.
You know, so I was in it for a long time, and I'm just trying to, right now, it's like starting to make sense to me as I put a record out, as I kind of dip my toe back in and share little bits of it, you know, and this time around I just have different goals, you know. Now it's more about just connecting on a smaller level and, you know, slowly trying to get a tribe of people and coming from a different place, like, well, who can I help with my music?
Exactly. It's so important. It's so important. I think when you first start out as an artist, I know I was like that. It's all about me, right? It's like me, my art, blah, blah. And now it's like, I mean, I still love to do stuff that I enjoy.
Of course.
But I also think of, like, you know, wow, this person's story, I could write a song about that because that could really help. And coming from an authentic place, that's the most important thing, because, you know, I'm sure we all have at some point written where we thought, oh, this is going to be a hit, you know, this is going to be so amazing. And you can't predict a hit. I actually want to write a book about don't write a hit, because everybody writes like how to write a hit song, and it's like, you don't know
Nobody
if it's
knows
going to be a
what's
hit. You know, it's just like it either hits or it doesn't hit.
Yeah.
I just love your story, and I think that's so important to share that, because a lot of us go through that. And I think also that when we have that, we're in that depressive state, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because that just means, or when we feel lonely, because that means you're supposed to spend time with yourself, you know, which we don't really do. We always distract, right? Like internet, TV, like all this stuff. Do, and like always looking for the answers outside, when it's really inside of us. There's so much.
That's actually what,
you know,
what I'm working on right now. Like that, the work I have to do on myself is the learning to be.
Yes.
The learning to be present. And, you know, because most of the times when we're freaking out, it's all in our head, and it's because we're not where we are. It's because we're over there in the past, or we're thinking of something in the future. But if we really just sat where we were, it's probably pretty awesome where we are.
Yeah.
And that's, I find myself doing that all the time. Like, you know, I'm not having a good time. Why? Because I'm flipping out. And actually I have a perfect example of a self-sabotage I did just a week ago. You know, we're all works in progress, but if you look at it, go, oh, wow, I did that. Ooh. So I'm with Sona. You're with Sona, Songwriters of North America. And that was another one of my groups that I joined when I was lost and didn't know what to do, because I think that they're doing a worthy cause, trying to improve the lives of songwriters and get us paid better. I mean, what better cause? So, I was helping them at the ASCAP Expo, which is this yearly convention, and I was just there helping bring in new members and talking to people and just having a great day. I had my kids completely taken care of. I had grandparents picking them up. In theory, nothing to worry about.
Right.
By 3 o'clock, my little inner, I have to take care of everyone demon started getting to me like, ooh, you didn't do the laundry. He might not find pajamas. Ooh, you didn't pull out stuff for dinner. He might not feed the kids. Like weird things. Like he can figure all of this out, but my head, I just like, oh my God, the kids, they won't be there. And I all of a sudden wasn't right where I was, and I was perfect place. I was networking. I was having a great time. I was with my people, and I left. I was like, okay, you guys are good. You guys are good. Okay, I'm gonna go home now. You know, and I left, and you know what happened an hour later? A very big producer, Desmond Child, came and joined Sona and sat at the booth and hung out and spoke and talked and took photos with everyone and really got to know everyone. And I would have had that opportunity to meet him in the space of these people that he respects. And he's met me several times, and he doesn't know who the hell I am. But he might have remembered this time. And that was my lesson. And I could have beat myself up for it and been so upset. And I actually did beat myself up a little bit. But then I said, okay, that's the lesson.
Lesson learned.
Learn it. You learned it right now. Like REM says, stand in the place where you live. And if I would have just stayed, chilled out, not listened to the cuckoo people telling me that other people need me and I don't deserve this time to myself.
Yeah.
And so that's the lesson. So getting to know when you're in the right spot, stop worrying about the other things. When you're in the right place, stay there.
And trust.
And trust.
And trust your intuition. Sometimes you just know that, you know, why am I freaking out over really nothing? Because I think those kind of lessons, they keep coming up, and we will mess up until we're finally surrendered to it, right? Where we say, okay, everything is good. This is my time. This is quality time with the people I love or care about in my other world, right? Outside of my family. Wow, I love your story, and I think that you're a great person. I've seen you make so many things happen with your band back in the day, like when you got yourself an endorsement with Sennheiser, was it?
I'm with Audix.
Audix, yeah. So you did so many things. Well, you played Universal, the City Walk over there, and you made all that happen. So you're a mover and shaker, and I know that you're gonna.
Where is she?
And I get that too, and I think a lot of people can totally relate because. Yeah. Especially as artists, there's many times where I was like, I don't know who the fuck I am. What am I going to do next? Like, what kind of music do I do? Where are my fans? We all go through that. And I think that's important to let other people know that because everybody who sees us on the social media, right, they think that we have our shit together all the time and our life is just perfect and we are just like these amazing superheroes, which we are. But
obviously.
But at the end of the day, we're also human and we mess up and we struggle and we just find ways to pull ourselves back out of that. And I think that's the most important thing, to always pull yourself back out and know that there is hope and there are people that can relate and will help you. And asking for help, because that's another really hard one for most of us, you know?
And I think it's okay to be lost, and I think it's okay to completely change everything.
Yes.
And sometimes, like, every time I had a new band, I had to completely rebrand myself. And that's actually good, because it kind of freshens you up.
Evolution.
It freshens up your energy. And, and this time around, I spent 2 years stressing out about what I was going to do with my name. I've recently started going by my first and middle name, Luci Lee.
Love it.
Forever I was Luci Levinson. That's who I am, you grow up, Lee. Thank you. But once I got married, I technically did get my husband's last name, but I kept my name as a middle name. So now I have like 4 names, which is just like too many names for a person. Right? Keep them up. Keep them those names.
I can't relate.
So I got 4 names, and I just started, because I was freaking out, like, who am I? I didn't feel like I wasn't that Evelove. I'm not Luci Levinson technically. Who am I? And I was like, I've always been Luci Lee.
Yeah.
I was born Luci Lee.
Yeah.
It took me forever. And then I was like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? Will people know how to find me? And it overthought for 2 years. And then I was like, screw it. That's one way to say, that chick, she doesn't exist anymore. This is the new chick.
Yeah.
And it's rebuilding time.
Yeah. Out with the old, in with the new. And I think that I look back on some work I've done in the past since Garrison, one of my guitar players, he just passed away. And so I got some pictures from back, 15 years ago, 16 years ago. That's crazy, Yeah. And I look at those pictures and I'm like, oh my God, who is this girl? Like, I love her. I still love that, but that's not where I'm at anymore either.
Totally different people.
Yeah, and it's totally okay to not even know. Like, name-wise, I'm thinking right now, too. I'm like, should I go with a different name? Been just debating, and I'm looking online, and of course, every name I want to take is already taken, which is so weird. I wanted to go with the IVJ, and there's like an IVJ out there. I'm like, really? Who thinks of that?
You know what, though? I avoided Luci Lee for a long time because I thought about it a long time ago because there's an Asian porn star with the name.
Oh, girl!
But then I was like, screw it. It will just be better that way.
But is this not Asian?
Whoa! Okay. So,
well, thank you so much for being with me. And I wanted to ask you a few more questions at the very end.
Yes.
Pet peeves. Because I want people to really relate, to see that we're all so much the same. So I wonder, how many have the same pet peeves? What are some of your pet peeves? Your top 3. If there's 3.
Pet peeves. Number 1. Let's see. People who hit you up, either whether it be the internet, your text message, or whatever, and all you get is, hey.
Oh, God. Yes.
I can't do anything with this.
Yes. And then you reply, and then it'll get back to you.
Well, so then you go, hi. I love talking to people. So if you're going to hit me up, you can start with hey. Hey, that's cool. But have something else.
Exactly.
Hey, anything.
How you doing? How's it going?
Anything but just, hey, nothing. Okay, so that's my, let's see, okay.
Love it.
Oh gosh, that was my first one. Okay, ooh, pet peeve. Oh my god, tell me one of yours so I can spur one of mine.
People that are late. That are late or flake out last minute, right?
Yeah.
They say like, hey, let's do 3 o'clock, and then they text you like half an hour before.
2:49.
Hey, can we do 4:30? It's like, I mean, I used to be really flexible.
Yeah. And now you're like, no!
But now I've come to realize, I'm like, no, fuck no. Because I scheduled you and I have other things to do. I can always do something else.
Yeah.
But the last minute people that just like think that, they don't value your time.
You're irritated too, aren't you?
One more question and we go outside for a second.
Let's see.
Come here. It's okay if you don't have any.
No, I mean I should. I have tons. I'm like,
I know.
I'm irritated all day long. Let's see. God, I'm having such a hard time right now. I don't know. Like right now, I find I have a lot of people will sometimes just dump their things on you. I guess people who all of a sudden whatever they didn't do becomes your drama. I don't know how to even explain that, but if someone else didn't do something and they're like really like now they're tight and now they really lean on you like, oh, I messed this up and I really need you to take care of all these things. Like I don't know, that's a terrible example, but I guess it's just me. I'm so capable that sometimes everyone dumps everything on me.
Right.
So,
and they only come to you when they need something, basically.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's another pet peeve for sure.
Oh, well then, okay, so my pet peeve also, people who are one-sided for sure, because I'm always willing to help people, but, I mean, how many times have you helped people that when you go look back in time, you're like, they've never helped me with anything? So, I guess energy vampires, is that what you call them?
Energy vampires, oh yes.
So, energy vampires or just constant negators. That was a lot. So that was a lot. So my last one would be people who only have negative output to put on the internet at all times.
At all times, yes. Oh no.
So
blocked, deleted.
Yeah, if you're venting, awesome. But maybe vent in your journal and try to put a little bit more positivity out there into the world, because I think we're missing on that one. So people who only have negative complaints.
I love what you said earlier when we talked before we started doing this. You said that if someone has an issue, it's so much smarter to just like post something and say, hey, I'm having a really shitty day. I could really use someone to talk to. You said that earlier.
Yeah. Well,
and
I don't know if we were on air, but instead of
so much more impactful,
Instead of every day, if this is if you're going, oh God, maybe I do that. Maybe every day I'm doing this. I think people get numb.
Yeah.
And when all we hear is from one person, blah, blah, my life sucks, my this sucks, my that sucks, eventually our empathy drains out. We have empathy at first, hear it anymore. And then your empathy button's just like, you can't take it anymore. But if you feel you have to put it on the social media, like you can't directly just call your friend, you want lots of people to know this is happening. You could be like, I'm in a really dark place. I could really use a friend right now. Please PM me if you have a moment.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. Because there's certain people, I've noticed that on my feed too. Like there's a couple, not many, but there's one person. I just feel that at some point you also have to help yourself. You can't just go online and always just like vent.
Be
and
attention seeking.
Attention seeking and like everything sucks and blah, blah, blah. At some point, like you said, you get numb to it because you're like, oh my God, I don't want to deal with this person because
they just become a negative person you don't want.
Yeah.
You don't.
And you know that they don't want to help themselves. They just blame everybody and everything else.
Yeah, victim.
Then, they're playing the victim, and I think nobody's the victim. We all have shitty days and it's
and
normal.
situations that we can't control.
Yeah, but there's a way to deal with it better, Your hopes and your dreams, and we'll make it really quick. Just like whatever. Is there anything that you really just like wish for? If you had a magic wand, what would you?
Well, when my younger self wanted, all the fantasies, having the yacht and the plane. I don't even know why I wanted those things. I don't even love being on yachts or planes. But, you wanting it all, having the this and having the that. And I think at this point in my life, what my hopes and dreams are just to be able to do what I love, be able to bring some sort of financial security to my family and enjoy life.
Awesome. I love that.
I'm trying to simplify it, and I think that, I've been following the minimalist for a long time, and it's true.
Less is more.
Less is more. It takes away the stress. We live in Los Angeles, and it's very difficult to live this dream. If we lived in the Midwest, both of us would be living these giant homes.
Yeah.
We both
mansions.
We would be living these beautiful homes because we could afford it. But we live in LA, and in LA things are a lot different. So we have to adjust your dreams for the city you live in.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's just to be comfortable, be able to do what I love, make a decent living, and enjoy life and travel a little.
Where can people find you?
People can find me on all the social medias at Call Me Luci Lee.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That was really awesome.
I should have laid down on the couch.
Yeah, right. That's $150.
Yeah, exactly. This session cost me.
Awesome.
For free. Come sit with her for free.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
He gets very jealous. Oh,
so yes, take care of yourself, people, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Reach out and know that you're not alone in this world, because we all have.
And I would say on the last note, because of the social media, probably instead of posting like, hey, help me everyone, you probably know the handful of people that really care about you and really can help you. And I think that's the better way to use your energy. You know, when you're really down and you really need to be lifted up, because sometimes the internet's going to disappoint you, or some person might troll you and be like, stop being so negative, or whatever they might do that might actually hurt you more. Right. Then it's just better just reach out to the one or two people who really care, and you can find that person. You know they exist. Yeah.
And that's really important. I'm glad we're actually ending on this, because I saw something on YouTube. I forget who, one of those self-help. I watch a bunch of them. And there was a guy who talked about loneliness, and how back in like a couple of years ago, probably more like 10 years ago, people in America was about average people in someone's life were like 5 people that they could reach out to. Mm-hmm. And then today, actually, most people don't have anyone that they feel like they actually would want to reach out to if they had something really bad happening. So I think it's so important in this day and age, more so than ever before, with all this depression, with suicide rate being so up, to really just have the courage to reach out and not feel ashamed or afraid, because you may inspire someone else by doing that, and also give them a chance to help you, because a lot of us would want to help if we knew, but a lot of times we don't even know. Yeah. Because everybody pretends to be so...
It's true. And maybe if all of us put little less time into cultivating the relationships that aren't really existing. Exactly. And actually, those the hour or 2 hours we scrolled like this, we could have had coffee with our best friend.
Amen. Yes.
So let's all work to have more personal connections.
Let's do that. Yes.